Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Vibrantly Healthy Mom Show. My name is Laura Bostrom, and I'm so glad that you have dropped in today. In today's episode, we are going to be talking about how you can discover the foundational place to begin in order to reach your health goals. But before we do that, I would love to know where you are tuning in from. All you have to do is just type in the comments below and let me know. I would love to know where y'all are coming from. So, with that, let's just dive right into our subject today. We are going to be talking about, like I said, the foundational place to begin in order to reach our health goals. I'm sure you, just like everybody else, have had something in your life, whether it be a New Year's resolution or sometime in your life where you decided that you were going to set out to reach a goal, whether it be to lose weight, to get more fit, to feel better. Maybe you've had a chronic illness or just not feeling your best, and you've decided you're going to put an end to it and reach that goal of feeling better and feeling more energetic again. Or maybe you're a mom who has been putting your all in and just feel exhausted, which I know what that's like, having children and having it exhaust you. I have 6 of them myself, so I have traveled that road for sure. And I know how exhausting it is chasing them around, keeping up with all of the responsibilities. So maybe that's something that you have set out to reach that goal of gaining more energy, feeling better so that you can function. But how do we get there? I'm going to guess that maybe you've had one time or another when you've done that, or you've set out to achieve that certain goal. And in the process, somewhere along the line, what happens? It kind of like comes to a halt. And it's like, what happened to that goal that I set out to achieve? Maybe it was that New Year's resolution, and come February, it's like, gosh, whatever happened to that desire, that burning desire I had on January 1st to get to that place? And now it's February, and well, I guess I just let that fall by the wayside. Well, that's not what we want to have happen when we want to achieve a certain goal. So we want to have success. We want to get to that end point. So what do we do? Well, here's the thing. We got to have a strong foundation to build on. Right now, we have 2 houses being built at the same time here behind our house. And they've been working tirelessly for a few weeks on just the basics. And we're not honestly seeing a whole lot take place. But there's trucks and work taking place. Lots of guys out there working. And the thing is what they're busy working on is the foundation of that house. And I think we know how important a foundation is, because if we don't have a foundation under a house, first you got to level the ground. You have to have it be exactly the right grade. You have to make sure you have the right kind of dirt there. I mean, you can't build a house on sand. We all know what's going to happen with that. So you have to have that groundwork done first, and then you got to dig down. And I am not a builder, so I don't know all the terminology that's involved, but the things that go down underground that we don't even see, that are there to help to stabilize the house. If we don't have that foundation there, that house is not going to be able to withstand what's going to come at it, whether it be weather, or the different types of things that happen. The foundation is put in place to keep that home stable in order to protect the occupants of it. So the same holds true when it comes to us trying to reach our health goals. We have to have the proper foundation first in order to have something that's going to sustain itself and able to take us all the way through to reaching our goal. And you're probably wondering, what in the world is that foundation you're talking about? Well, really, where it begins is right here. It's our mindset. Now, yes, I know there are a lot of people out there talking about mindset, and what does that even mean? Because mindset can just be kind of a loose term that's just thrown around that, really, what does it mean? Well, it's simply that mental set of attitudes that a person has, or their inclination, and it's really how you go about handling everything in your life, whether it's decisions that you have to make, or the way that you apply yourself to your work or taking care of your family. Our mindset comes into play in a huge way. And there's really two distinct sorts of mindsets. I mean, there's a lot to be said about mindset, but when it comes to just looking at the basics of it and kind of narrowing it down, there's really two different camps that a person can fall into. And one of those is having a fixed mindset, meaning that you really feel that you are who you are when you're born and your mindset can't change. Okay, like that you are just that way and there's nothing that you can do to change it. But then on the other hand, there's that growth mindset mentality. And that is where you have the belief that there are things that you can do to grow and learn and change and just keep on improving. And so I think you can see when you think about fixed as compared to that growth mindset, which one is going to be apt to help you to be more flexible and make the changes that you need to in order to reach goals that you set for yourself. It's absolutely having that growth mindset. So we need to make sure, that's the first place to start. You have to start with realizing that your mindset is super important, okay? And having that mindset where it is one where you realize that you can actually learn new things, you can actually grow in ways that will help you to continue to change in ways that you would like. Because face it, if somebody's wanting to get more fit, they have to change, right? There are things that have to change in order to be able to achieve that goal of being more fit. So really starting with that mindset in the area of recognizing that, yes, you can grow and change is super important. So that's the first place that you want to start. But then you need to be prepared. You need to be prepared to handle the things that come up that could take you off track. All right, so building into that foundation some very important things to help you be prepared as you're moving through that process of reaching that goal is super important because life happens, right? There's no way we can check out of life, go work on our goal, and then come back when we're all finished. It doesn't work that way. We still have our families, we still have our friends and work and all of the things that happen in life that come along that can take us off track and make it so that it makes it hard to achieve our goals. So we need to be prepared for whatever those storms are that come, just like a house needs to have its foundation built and a roof put on it, all of those things in order to prepare it for the storms that will come so that it still will stay standing and still will be a safe place for its occupants to be in. So what can we do in order to prepare ourselves and to have the tools that we need in order to be ready for whatever might come our way when we are working on our own health goals? Well, I'm going to share, there's a lot of things you can do, but I'm going to share some really key things with you that I have found to be super helpful. And one of those is, when we set a goal, it's great to set that long-term big goal that's out there. But in the process, I really encourage you to set yourself some small goals for along the way. And I'm talking about daily goals and weekly goals. Because here's the thing. If you are able to have some small wins along the way as you are striving to get to that really big goal, it's going to energize you. It's going to give you what you need in order to be motivated to keep on going, because you're going to see yourself having some small wins along the way, and it's going to be feeding that sense of just excitement for you, and it's going to make you be yeah, and I can reach the next goal, and I can reach the next one so that I can get to that big one that I'm heading towards. So make sure that you're setting some small goals along the way for every day and weekly, okay? And then another thing to do is to focus on enjoying the journey versus focusing on that end goal. Because if we keep our eyes focused solely on what that end goal is, rather than enjoying the process, and all we're doing is comparing ourselves where we are now to what it is that we want out there, that can be rather discouraging. And that can be something that can make you just end up saying, forget it. I'm never going to get there. Look how far away I am from that. Now, there's a difference here between having that image in your mind of what it is you want to achieve, because that is a really good thing to do, to have in your mind and focus on That's where I'm going to go. That is what I'm going for. As compared to comparing yourself to that. If you're constantly comparing yourself to that and beating yourself up because you're so far from that, that's going to be very discouraging, and you're going to end up wanting to just quit. So I encourage you to focus on enjoying the journey. Have that be what your eyes are set on daily. And there's some real wisdom in the Bible about living your days one at a time, enjoying every moment. Every day has enough things to worry about itself. So to be, thinking so far ahead where it's like, how am I going to get there? How am I going to get there? I'm never going to get there. I got to do all this stuff. Enjoy the journey that you are on, every step of the way. And then the other thing is, there are going to be times where you're going to fail. Let's say that you are trying to lose weight, and you have decided, I'm gonna cut out sugar. I'm not gonna eat any sugar. I'm not gonna eat any carbs. Maybe, and everybody's got a different way of approaching a diet. But let's say that's what you chose, and let's say that you were invited to a party and you ended up eating all those things that you had committed to not eating. Well, don't look at that as a failure and just quit. See that failure as something that is instead a setup for a very strong comeback. So realize that there's going to be those moments that are going to seem like a failure to you, but rephrase it in your mind and see it as something that is setting you up to come back even stronger than before. Because maybe, going off from your strict diet that you've been on and eating those things like sugar, if you're tuned in with your body, maybe you're going to find out, man, I just don't feel good now. I haven't been eating sugar for several weeks, and I ate that sugary dessert, and I feel really cruddy now. Well, you learned something in that, right? So I don't see that as a failure at all. I see that as something as a part of a learning process, and that's going to be something that's going to help you spring forward, and you're going to be set up for a strong comeback after that. And then here's the other thing that I find to be super, super helpful. And I found it to be helpful when I was going through, several years ago, when I was going through some chronic health issues, and I was working through those and trying to feel better just to function. And there were days where I just really was discouraged and felt like I'm never going to get there. And I would fall into that conversation in my own mind where I really would drag myself down, like I'm never going to get there. I can't do this. What's the use? And so what I have found is that when I start hearing that negative conversation going on in my mind, I just basically treat it like I'm listening to a video or a podcast or something, and I hit pause. I stop it. Rather than pause, I just quit it. I'm like, nope, not even going to think that way. I'm going to shut that negative self-talk off, and when I turn it back on, I turn on some positive thoughts. I turn on positive things. I start thinking about the things I have to be thankful for, and that has been a super big help to me. We can control our minds. We can control what they are thinking about, and if you find yourself falling into that trap of thinking negatively, like I did, and I still do this, I just simply hit that stop button. It's like, nope, not even going to go there, not going to let that develop in my mind, and then replace it with something that's positive, some positive thoughts and positive self-talk. It works incredibly well. I cannot even tell you how well that has worked for me. And then once you reach your health goals, once you get to that big goal that you've set for out there, you need to realize that it is going to involve some maintenance. Just as these houses that are behind us that are being built right now, once they get all done, once we get past that foundation phase and the house goes up and the people move in and they decorate it and they make it all beautiful, what happens if somebody doesn't take care of it? It falls apart. I know we've had a couple homes in our neighborhood that were foreclosures, and with people not being there for a year or 2 years, it's amazing how quickly a house falls apart. Just standing there, things just fall apart. We don't realize all of the little things that we do to take care of a home in order to keep it looking beautiful. And the same goes for us. When we reach those health goals that we are setting out for, and we get there, we've arrived at it, that doesn't mean that we just quit. There are things that we have to do to maintain it in order to keep that that thing that we have achieved. So some things that you can do here. This is a very dear friend of mine has shared this with me, and I love doing this. This has been a huge, huge help to me as well. And that is to apply something called the at least statement. We can get discouraged sometimes if we start to fall backwards. We've gotten to our goal. And I always find, for some reason, even though it's not a big thing that I focus on, is weight loss. But weight loss is a big deal for a lot of people, and it's a super simple thing for us to relate to and get a picture in our mind. So I'm going to use this example again because I think it's a really good one. Somebody may have reached that health goal, lost all of that weight that they were looking to lose, and they arrived, but maybe they fell back a little bit and gained a little bit back. Maybe a couple pounds is all. But if they learn the things that they can do to maintain themselves and learn some tricks that they can do along the way, then they can make sure that that stays up. They can get back to where what they had accomplished. So the at least statement can be super helpful for this kind of thing. So the person could be like, darn, I gained 2 pounds. It's just going to all fall apart now because I gained that back. But you can switch that around and say something like, well, I did gain 2 pounds, but at least I lost that 75 that I was working on, and I know how to do it again. So switching our verbiage around like that and having a more positive mindset is huge, and you can apply this to all kinds of areas of your life. Since my friends share this with me, I have found so many things in my life where I start to grumble about them. And I love an example that she shared, and this one just always comes back to my mind because these are the kinds of things that I can get frustrated about in my life. She said, you burn the potatoes for dinner, and you can be like, ugh, I burned the potatoes. And instead of saying that, you can say, well, I burned the potatoes for dinner, but at least we have lots of other things that we still can eat for dinner. And so if you find yourself at that place where you have arrived, where you wanted to be with your health goal, and you have little things that sneak in that make it feel like it's starting to fall apart, and you start to grumble about it, and you start to do that negative self-talk, remember that at least statement because it comes in so handy for switching our thinking up and thinking in a more positive way. And that leads me to the other thing that I find to be incredibly helpful, and that's practicing gratitude. I like to keep a gratitude journal. Sometimes I write in it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's just simply when I lay down at nighttime, I put my head on the pillow, and I think of at least 2 or 3 things that I'm thankful for from that day. And we can do that all throughout the day. Those times when we're getting discouraged, that we feel like we're falling off track and we're not maintaining what we had already achieved, start thinking about the things that you do have to be thankful for. And that will get that shift going in your mind. And remember, our mindset is the place that all of these kinds of things need to begin. Because if we don't have the right mindset, we're not going to have the foundation that we need to build these healthy things and healthy changes that we're trying to make in our life. We're not going to have that to build on. So I encourage you to start there. So what I would suggest that you do to begin with is just take a look at what your mindset is. Where are you at with it? Do you have that fixed mindset where you don't feel like there's anything that you can do to change? You just are who you are and there's nothing that will ever change it? Or do you have that growth mindset? That one where you know that there are things that you can actually do that will help you to change so that you can reach the goals that you are after and be a success. So I hope that this has been helpful to you in some way. I would love to know what goals that you're setting out for, and I'd love to hear the things that you feel like you're struggling with your mindset and be an encouragement to you, because shifts can definitely be made more on this foundational level that will help to take you to get that success that you have struggled so much to achieve in the past. So I will look forward to being with you here again next week, same time, same place. I hope you all have a fantastic week and go and work on that mindset. Bye, everyone.